Well, Conor, just as with the down team, I know you're going to leave a couple of decisions until after the warm-up here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead, we've one or two guys there we have one or two concerns about. Look, we're just keeping our fingers crossed that things will work out, but we'll wait until after the warm-up.
I suppose a lot of the talk during the week has been about Noel O'Leary, and will he do a marking job on Marty Clark as he did last September? Can we expect to see that?
Actually, look, I think it's a whole new ball game here today. It's all about what people do today in this 70 minutes rather than what happened a number of months ago. So, you know, I suppose we'll know more about that in probably an hour and a half's time.
I suppose revenge is a great motivating factor. Down will have that on their side, but I suppose maybe after the Munster final you'll have a point to prove yourselves. Yeah,
look, I suppose, you know, as you said, Down rightly will be disappointed after last year, and that's a big motivation. I suppose, again, from our point of view, you know, Munster final performance, you know, first half in particular was very disappointing. So, you know, we've all got our motivation here today, and it's going to come down to the wire again, a point or two between it.
Well, James, first of all, you were just telling me that there may be a couple of changes to this Down team, but it will all depend on the warm-up out there.
Yeah, we're just going to have to assess a couple of guys in the warm-up and see how they're feeling.
Now, I read some quotes from you during the week and you were talking about how, I suppose, revenge can be a motivating factor. Is there any fear that it could also be a distraction and people might be thinking too much about the past?
Well, I certainly hope not. Obviously, 2010's gone. It's all about 2011. But I suppose the motivating factor that Cork have is that they were beaten in a Munster final and they want to get back on the road again. So, look, there's two teams going out hell for leather and may the best team win.
What's the mood among the players like this morning?
Okay, we're upbeat. We know it's a huge ask, a huge task against the All-Ireland champions who've won the last 3 national titles. So, you know, we're certainly underdogs, but sure, that's maybe the best way to have it.
Peter, you mentioned earlier about all the possession.
Kick out, goes all the way over the sideline. Down have made no secret. They've been looking forward to taking on the champions. Marty Clark, lovely little touch. Nice score. Claudia Cassar sending one through the centre. John Miskela to run onto. Going forward. Looking for it is Pierce O'Neill. The space is in front of him. He's going for the goal and a brilliant save by Brendan McVeigh. Look at this for the cat-like exploits of Brendan McVeigh. He got a touch. Paul Kerrigan gets a hand to it, lays it off quickly to Alan O'Connor. He was being held free for Cork. Good work by O'Connor here. Free correctly given. Nice ball inside, there's a chance. Oh, beautiful. Donica O'Connor. Here's Goulding's cross. Here's O'Connor. Look at how he calmly put it between goalpost and keeper. Class. Down, snapping at every loose ball. This one picked up by Conor McGinn to Conor Laverty. Scored a cracking goal against Antrim in Belfast last Saturday night. Marty Clark backfires Conor McGinn. He's having a go, and it's a confident one. Conor Laverty confronted by Owen Cotter. Sneaks one in for Conor McGinn. Good play down. What about the finish? It's good enough for Benny Coulter. It's good enough to raise another white flag. Lovely ball inside. Conor McGinn, great layoff. Good finish. Good ball. The down players have been sucked into Mark Allen O'Connor. There's a chance here for Paddy Kelly. Flicks it inside, here's Fintan goal, chance of a goal, oh, he tucks it away, absolutely beautifully. What about that for a finish? Benny Coulter, Michael Shields going everywhere with him. Aidan Brannigan gets involved. Back to Benny Coulter. Conor Laverty. Marty Clark. Kevin McKernan. Under pressure, takes the effort, takes the opportunity.
He's hit 2 points in the match so far, 1 from a free. That same familiar down sub, Caelan Mooney. Peter Canavan mentioning him at half-time there as a player he'd love to see come into this match. Good ball from Poland to pick out Fitzpatrick, chance of a goal. Fine save by Alan Quirk. Had to earn his corn there, the Cork goalkeeper. Comes to Coulter, who looked to throw that kick won by Fiacre Lynch. This is Paddy Kelly. Loose man who'd stolen down the field. Alan O'Connor did well to find some space. Not noted as a scorer. Gives it to a much better marksman, Donegal O'Connor. It's tight. It looked very close from here. The umpire's given it. There wasn't much in it, but it's not
The person to give the decision.
Owen Cadigan, free of hurling commitments now, concentrating on the big ball and giving it inside to O'Connor. No doubt about this one. Beautifully done by Donegal O'Connor. He's starting to hit a little purple patch now. Once more, he got out in front of his man. Cadigan it was who broke the line, and he hit that right on the sweet spot.
Well, it's amazing what a year and the confidence of an All-Ireland victory can do, because Donegal O'Connor played tremendously well in the final last year, and he's brought that form into the league and the championship this year. He's been Cork's outstanding forward so far. Tremendous point on the turn.
Declan Rooney looking to set Martin Clark in around the back. Ball just broke away from
In the full forward line, and any balls that are going in over near the sideline where they're not able to penetrate and get a goal opportunity.
Donegal O'Connor decides to have a shot at goal, and it was a good decision. Of action in 2011. So he's into the down midfield. The All-Ireland champions now in control. They lead by 7 points. Fintan Gould taking the pass from O'Neill, and they're beginning to find their rhythm. A goal and 2 points for Fintan Gould, who has slotted in seamlessly to the Cork half-forward line, and they're starting to pull away.
Yeah, again, on that occasion it was Pierce O'Neill made the run.
Slips past McGinn and pops it over the bar. That little touch.
It's certainly impacted on their ability to close down space.
Well, that's 2 goals and 11 points from play now from Cork. O'Connor has a look at this free. He's been striking the ball really well all evening. Good ball by Dan Gordon. He's picked out McComiskey. Chance for the sub to make an early impact. And he's done just that. Good score from McComiskey. Hit 3 points here against Cork last September. And after a score like that, I'm sure Down supporters will be wondering just how he didn't start.
And he'd be wondering himself also.
Now, possession won by Mark Poland. He's got a loose man to his right. He's picked him out. Chance perhaps for Rooney. Slipped inside to McComiskey. And the substitute takes his second point. They were sniffing for the goal. There was a half chance of it, but McComiskey had to be content with a point.
Yeah, Declan Rooney there, I suppose, thought about having a go for a goal, but he saw the big frame of Graham Canty coming.
So Cork will have an extra man for the final 13 minutes as Kerrigan slips it through to Canty. This would surely finish it. And the three-time All-Star takes his point. Last year's All-Ireland final didn't throw up any goals. This evening, though, Cork found the gaps. They made down pay, and Aidan Walsh has finally got that score that he's been searching for all through this second half.
Goals at this stage.
Mark Poland, good run, slips it through. This is a chance for Rodgers. He'll have to be content with the point. Ambrose Rodgers, he came storming through the centre. A rueful look from James McCartan. If Down were to have any chance, they needed that to hit the back of the net. In complete control. Mark Collins popping it through to the unmarked Miskela. Broke the first tackle, managed to swing a boot at it, and it arcs up and over the bar.
Today.
So Donegal O'Connor from Ballydesmond is Paul's selection for man of the match, as Conor Laverty goes looking for something to bring home with him this evening, and that's his first point. A token gesture, though, at this late stage in the match.
Certainly did, and I was really impressed by their half-back line. Their attacking focus right throughout the game has been good to watch. And Owen Cadigan, we know how good a player he is. Obviously, his first priority is with the hurling team, and when he comes back, and obviously he's Cork been out of the hurling championship, he'll be able to devote all his energies to the for Cork. So they cannot afford, any team with All-Ireland aspirations cannot afford to lose players of the
Ireland Championship 2011. Cork are in the draw. They are heading to the quarterfinals on a full-time score of Cork 2 goals and 20 points, down 14 points.
Sure, look, we're pleased to get through. I mean, we expected it would be tight. You know, the fact that it was a big margin in the finish probably, you know, didn't justify Down's efforts on the day. But we got the breaks, we got the goals at crucial times, and you know, that's what games are about. And today was one of those days for us.
Where do we go from here? Look, we'll just have to think about that, Marty. That's a question for another day, and we'll sit down as a management team and have a think where the future lies. And obviously the players will, you know, they'll regroup. They'll probably recuperate a lot quicker because they'll go back to club football and they'll probably have challenged you very quickly. So, but at the end of the day, you know, today was hard to swallow, but you have to keep going.
All right, Joe Bradley, some quotes of yours were carried in the Examiner this weekend.
Taken out of context, Des.
I know.
Don't listen to everything you read in the newspaper.
But there's a huge response from Cork fans who want you to praise their team tonight.
Well, it would be hard not to. I was sitting with my old fella yesterday in Croke Park, and I have to say now that they would beat the pick of all three teams that were there yesterday. They really played like champions, and I mean, it's no exaggeration to say that the game was over after 15 minutes. Now, I know that Down's defence is poor, you know, the sort of the GA equivalent of the Territorial Army, and their midfield was completely obliterated, as it was in last year's All-Ireland final. But there was a smoothness about Cork's performance yesterday that I haven't seen in Croke Park. Their passing, their movement, the 2 goals were brilliant. And also, I tell you another thing that we don't get, we sort of sit up in the crow's nest watching. I mean, yesterday I had plum seats right down, you know, about 15 rows back. To get a proper impression of their power and their pace, their strength, their ball-winning ability. You know, and I must say, I couldn't have been more impressed. And, I mean, obviously the big issue for Cork being All-Ireland champions is, are they going to beat Kerry? You know, that's the issue. And after what happened in the first half in Munster, which must have been a huge shock to their system, you say, well, look, still there is this deficit, this skill deficit that exists between the teams. But I mean, there's no shame in that. Kerry are one of the great teams, though.
Well,
they have been anyway.
Where are Cork lacking then to Kerry?
I think that the difference is, you know, because you're obviously in big games where the defence becomes claustrophobic and where every point is vital and economy is vital. Cork do break forward a lot from midfield and half-back, but don't score. I mean, their midfielders, we pointed this out last year as well, continually break forward into scoring positions, but don't take advantage. Their half-backs break forward, don't take advantage. And in an All-Ireland final, as distinct from yesterday where Cork really put on a masterclass, as distinct from that when they're playing against Kerry and there's psychological pressure, because I think in truth that the only team that can beat them is Kerry. I really do think that Cork have left everyone else behind.
Just to go back on that, first of all, the article was rubbish. Absolute rubbish. It made Cork out to be comical fingers stumbling along.
Well, that's completely wrong.
It poked fun at them, actually.
Well, that's completely wrong.
Just on the analysis bit, you take the 2 midfielders and the 3 half-backs. Alan O'Connor has been Cork's best player this year so far. Owen Cadigan was wing back yesterday. He was fantastic. John Mescala was very good.
Tony, Tony, hold on a second.
Joe's point is about them scoring going forward.
You're deliberately missing the point. Cork are, and I said this last year, throughout the year, Cork are the best ball-winning team around that middle third, I think, that I've ever seen. They won 80% of possession in last year's All-Ireland final.
Yes, and
hold on a second. They beat a mediocre Down team by a point in the All-Ireland final. Tyrone would have beaten them by 10. Even Tyrone
We're
now.
not talking about Tyrone, we're talking about Cork. And as All-Ireland champions, it's disrespectful, actually, writing about
Well, Tony, let's be fair about it. Don't, you know, it's not my fault that you just haven't beat Kerry in a big game in Croke Park. You know, that's a private...
No, they haven't beaten Cork.
All I'm saying is
Kerry are the only team since 2004 to have beat Cork in the championship.
Let me put it this way. It matters not a jot to me. If Derry don't win the All-Ireland, it matters not a jot to me who wins the All-Ireland. But watching Cork, you'd have to say, Munster final again this year, Munster final last year when Cork had dominated possession, All-Ireland semi-final last year, All-Ireland final last year, dominating possession and winning by a point.
They're still All-Ireland champions.
I understand that, but we're
still
looking...
double league champions, so they're not too bad.
Yes, but we're looking... Of course,
they're not comical
we'd give our right arm to be Cork instead of Derry at the moment. Yeah. But what I'm saying to you is this. You look at them in that context, and what's the question for Cork? Can you beat Kerry in a big game at Croke Park?
The biggest question nowadays isn't the sector, that sector. The biggest sector for Cork now is their forwards with all the injuries they have. It's crucial what happened yesterday with Daniel Goulding out. Barry O'Driscoll, the sub coming in,
they weren't
breaking
injured in the
his jaw.
Munster final.
No, but for Cork to go on as you're talking about.
And they haven't been injured in all the big games in Croke Park when they've been beaten by Kerry.
Cork dominated Kerry in the second half in the Munster final. They lost the game, but totally dominated.
But Tony,
that was only 2 weeks ago.
Tony,
the reality is that they do struggle from numbers 5 to 9 to score. And also
that...
the other thing that they struggle with is this. They've got two, in my view, brilliant forwards, Goulding and O'Connor. I mean, I thought O'Connor yesterday, because he was getting supply, because they were so overwhelmingly on top, I thought he was brilliant yesterday, the best I've ever seen him. I genuinely mean that. But the problem is, you look at them against Down last year, and I mean, in fairness to Down, when Down got... If
That's
Down
Daniel Goulding the ball into Donnchadh, and he finishes it off.
Fabulous football.
Fantastic
But they're
pass, and it's
starved
shame
of
to see him-
possession. In most games, they're starved of possession because Cork persist with this short passing game
the one
up the
thing I
field.
do like about Cork is they play your traditional 15-man player, where
do
they
like that.
play it as it is.
But do you accept Joe's point that they need to score more
They
in
need
his
to move
view
the ball into
from
the
those
forwards, but
positions?
they need to move the ball into the inside
Half-backs
forwards.
and midfielders. A half-back is not their job to score. I've played half-back, and if I went beyond the halfway line, I'd be shouted. John Kerrin used to be in goal and say, "Get the hell back! Your job is to defend
It is in
and
the
mark
modern
your
game,
man."
Tony. It is in the modern game. I mean, Joe McMahon scored a goal from full-back for Tyrone. Swift scored a point. I think 4 of the Tyrone 6 defenders scored a point. You need to be more versatile, and this is a problem when you play against the Kingdom. Tomas
The Cork
Uche, Tom
halfbacks
O'Sullivan.
I would suggest that Cork halfbacks have scored more in the championship in the last 3 years than any other halfback line in the country. You tell me another halfback that has scored more. John Mescala has scored a load of scores in the last couple of years.
It's
not about scoring. Halfback is about winning breaks, getting the ball in.
All right, well, this debate will run because I've no doubt we've Cork and Kerry playing again. Joe, I want to bring in the draw.
This is a pretty...
Other teams now
Hold on a
as well.
second. This is a pretty refined criticism of Cork because, I mean,
Yes.
don't get me wrong, they are a great side. There's no doubt about that. But the reality is this. They have failed against Kerry, significantly failed against them. And the issue is now, how do they cure that problem?
All right, but we have viewers watching tonight who